Twitch. I think we're live, maybe. We should be. According to the OBS, it says we're streaming.
Check.
Oh yeah, there we are. Cool, awesome.
Oh yeah, there we are. Cool, awesome.
Oh, and it's echoing and everything. Oh no, horrible. There we go. Okay, we are live though. My audio quality is not the best, but people will have to live with it.
Do we have whatever that thing is on
What thing?
recording?
I'll record it locally.
Alright.
I think we can't turn it on after the fact, anyways. I think we had it on last time.
Yeah, we should.
I'll record locally, just in case. All right, posted it, etc. We're good. We're live. First time in fucking. I don't know, man. When's the last time we did anything on this channel?
I did something with Germ back like 6 months ago.
Okay. It's been a while for me. Obviously, I didn't have the stream key set up.
Alright. Let me post in some random places where.
Hey,
there's,
we
like,
got
so many-
one
there's-
person. Hey, look at that. Yeah, throw
There
it
we
around
go.
wherever you want. I put it in the live stream channel, so everyone in the server should get it.
Media announcements. Let's see. There we go.
Sweet. Hi, people. Who's this? Grumpiest Reaper. First person to listen to us in 6 months. This is going to be a very scuffed podcast. My mic I don't have because it's in a box. Danny only has like an hour, so it's only going to be like an hour.
Yep.
And, well, yeah, we don't really have anything specific to talk about. So, you know, just thought that before the end of the year we should probably do something. And maybe we'll probably do another thing in January, but it's been a while. This podcast will mainly be, I guess we never even did the intro. It doesn't even matter. This podcast is going to be mainly about.
You know what it is.
Yeah, it's off the clack. It's everywhere. Our branding's everywhere. Come on. Oh, this is the
Off the
Epstein
clack.
didn't kill himself background too.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
But yeah, this is gonna be mainly about what the hell's going on, plans going forward, where Josh is, and then we'll talk about the usual stuff, what we've been up to, keyboard stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. People will join or not join. I mean, we didn't really announce this until 5 minutes
Yeah.
ago, so I'm not really expecting many.
It's on changing the times around and all.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't even close to our normal time slot. It's a completely different day and a completely different time. So this time works all right for me though, because I have my morning stand up at 10:30, Pacific Standard Time. I have my morning stand ups at 10:30, and then usually from 11 to like 1, I'm free-ish. I don't have too much to do, unless I have like certain meetings and stuff. But my lunch block is always free, so I can probably make this time work more often.
Yep.
Which is like what, 3 o'clock? No, 2 o'clock-ish Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock. Yeah.
So it's probably a time I can make work, but we'll have to see all that. Oh, that's my work laptop. I should probably turn off the notifications. But yeah, working from home for the past 9 months. Ooh, fun.
I mean,
Yeah,
see, I
well-
was into my office for a while.
Oh, really? I guess you're smaller though. You were like what? You're a small startup-ish thing?
Yeah. I mean, it was like literally just
God, that light.
a one-person. It was a one-person office anyway. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, Amazon and all that, they shut down pretty early. I think the same time Microsoft did, or a bit earlier. So we've been out of the office for 9 months now, almost. Gonna be a year, definitely. We're not going back till, I think June next year was the earliest. But even then, I told my manager, and most everyone in our team's the same thing, that until there's a vaccine, I'm just not even gonna set foot in the office. So
Yeah. Exactly.
not gonna bother. That being said, vaccine is a thing. I went to the dentist yesterday, and they said that their whole office is getting vaccinated because obviously dentists, they got to deal with
Yeah.
people without masks pretty regularly. So it made sense that they're getting it. So it's nice to see that people who should be getting it first are getting it. It was the weirdest thing though, because it's the first time in literally 8-9 months I've taking my mask off in public, it was super weird. It felt super weird. Because, like, I'm always wearing it unless I'm at home. So not having it in a public setting, I was like, this feels wrong. But, you know, they were good. They had all their sanitary practices and everything. I mean, dentists already wear masks all the time. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I went to the dentist like, yeah, it was probably like 4 or 5 months ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I also
It's
had
been
to take.
2
I also had
years
to take my
since
kid. I also had to take my kids. Like, I don't know. I think it was back in May or June or something like that. Took
Yeah.
all three. Took three of them to the dentist, and
Yeah, it's been 2 years since I gone, just because I moved a lot, and I don't know. I never like. Not like I don't like the dentist. I'm not afraid of it or anything. Just it's an inconvenience. Also, I have good teeth. Like I went. This is the first time in 2 years, and my teeth are fine. So I have very healthy teeth. Gotta
Yeah,
floss more, but who can't?
exactly. It's like I've had no problems in the past several years. I think I had a cavity maybe like
Yeah, I've had.
I don't know,
I've had my
back when I was in
cavities.
Virginia. I think it was back in Virginia was the last time, so that was over 10 years ago then.
Yeah, I
had,
get
something
cavities
done.
every so often. Who doesn't? And nowadays, it's so easy and cheap and straightforward to get a cavity filled. It took, like, the last time I had a cavity, it took 20 minutes to get it filled and done.
Because they do use like the UV light now. And
Yeah, UV
stuff
light
like
looks
that.
exactly like your tooth. You can't even tell.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's not even a big deal. But, you know, I have strong teeth, apparently. Yeah, Grumpiest Reaper says, yeah, it's 8:15 European time right now. So, I mean, this is probably a good time to try and
Yeah,
stick to in the
that's true.
future. Make the most of the people to join. Although for Pacific Standard Time people who work, this is not the best time. Although it does, if we could do it with lunch break. Probably
Lunch break,
perfect.
yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be what 3 o'clock Eastern Standard. So people at work there, but yeah, you're not going to be perfect for everyone. So
Yeah.
is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, so pandemic still going on. Gonna be
Raging
going
as
on.
hard as ever.
What? Sorry.
Raging as hard as ever.
You know, I like the work from home, I will say. I don't mind it. I do miss seeing my coworkers. We've had new joiners that have, like, you know, been working for us for, you know, half a year now or more that have never seen the office. Like, my new manager, we got a new manager basically as soon as the pandemic started. Never saw the office, never met any of us in person until a few weeks ago. He just came by to say hi. But it's super weird, you know? I like meeting people. I like seeing people. So when we do get back to quote unquote normal, I would like to do like a hybrid work from home. You know, like 3 days at home, 2 days in the office, or
Yeah.
you know, 3 weeks at home, 1 week in the office. You know, it really just depends on your role and how the team works. Because it is important. I do understand the importance of, you know, physical social connection with your team members. It's definitely an important thing. You know, grow that, you know, camaraderie, for lack of a better word, and all that. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, it is important, but at the same time, as a software dev, why the hell do I need to go in the office every day?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the same thing with my company. It's like we were like hardcore like in person for
Yeah.
like a year or maybe
Yeah.
less. It was maybe like 8 months, and then we're like, oh, we can just go remote. It's like it was totally fine. We thought it'd be like, you know, worse opposition, but no, it's like pretty easy. You know, no
Yeah,
issues
yeah,
at
yeah.
all.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Like, it just makes sense. Like, I've been working from home for like the past 9 months. I mean, sure, the first 2, 3 months, productivity definitely, you know, went down because everyone was setting up their environments. You're not used to it, you know, all that. And but after that, I mean, productivity is pretty much normal, if not maybe a little bit better in some areas. You know, it took a while to get the meetings under control. Some people were doing way too many meetings. But overall, I think it's a plus. And hopefully, I can't speak for Amazon or my team really, but hopefully, you know, when we're allowed back in the office again, a lot of managers consider allowing people to hybrid work from home, right?
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
makes, like, also, at least for my team, we've grown so much and our office space is still the same size technically. We're no way our team can fit where we, you know, in our office space anymore. So, you know, trade-offs.
Yeah, and who would want to buy more office space anyway at this
Exactly.
point?
If anything, I mean, like, pretend let's say that Amazon allowed, I don't know, half its employees to do a hybrid work from home approach, right? And by half of its employees, I mean half of its non-warehouse employees, right? So half of its enterprise or corporate employees, I guess is a better term for that, to work from home and to hybrid approach. They could probably eliminate 20% of their, physical spaces at that
Hmm.
point.
Yeah.
And like in Seattle, I think they own something like 40 to 50 buildings. So if they got rid of 5 buildings, that's a lot of money, first of
Oh
all.
yeah.
And second of all, for Seattle, it'd be good because, I mean, that's 5 buildings that Amazon isn't in anymore that can be used for, ideally, again, for Seattle, some type of, homeless shelters. Big, giant skyscraper, you should be able to gut that and retrofit it for lots of low cost housing, maybe. Otherwise, I mean, it's just good to have more real estate freed up for non corporate entities, especially in a city where you kind of need the space, So good all around in theory. In practice, who knows? But in theory. So, but anyways, beyond that, let's talk. What's the word? Let's talk what Josh. Let's talk Josh, because I'm a big dead.
Dead.
He's not dead. He's not dead. I talked to him over email a few weeks ago. Haven't talked to him since then, but he did tell me that everything's good now. He's not dead. He will be back.
Did he fake move to Texas? Because remember we saw
I don't-
that he had logged in from Philadelphia to
So
our
he has someone
shared
else
email
running
account.
his business for him right now, handling orders and stuff. Um, and I don't know where he lives currently. I don't know if the Texas move worked or didn't work or what. I'm not gonna, you know, all I can share is he's fine. He will be back eventually. Don't know when that eventually is, but eventually he will be back. He's just got stuff going on, but they're all healthy and safe and etc. So that's good. I don't think he ever had COVID, but
Should have done the antibody test since he had that like crazy coughing fit or whatever.
he should have. I don't know if he did. Like I said, I didn't talk to him much. It was one email. So that's all I know. Is what was in that one email. I replied and he never responded back. He changed his phone number too, so that's why I could never freaking reach him on his phone. And he was supposed to send me his updated one. He never did. But, he's fine. I was going to get a COVID test, but what's the word? I haven't really had any COVID symptoms. And my wife got tested about a month ago in October. And she was negative, or 2 months ago in October, and she was negative. And since then, I mean, we haven't had any COVID symptoms or anything, so no reason to think we have it or had it.
My son did a test because at some point he had like a cough,
Yeah.
and I think he had like a fever for like one night, and that was it. But like we did a test, had him home for a couple days, and
Yeah.
it was negative. So whatever.
Yeah. Sullivan Leo makes a good point for work from home and stuff. Is you have to consider how much it costs an individual employee versus company, like internet access and such like that. And that's fair. I mean, especially in America, if you're outside of a city, internet access can be tough, especially with all the data caps coming in nowadays, which is stupid. But we'll get into that. But yeah, internet access is definitely something to think about. And one way they could do it is subsidize isn't the correct word, but at least my company, Amazon, you can write off your phone bill every month if you ever use a work phone, right? So I don't see why they couldn't do the same thing for internet. And at the same time, you have to look at, as an employee, if you commute, you're saving gas costs, car maintenance costs. You might not need a car anymore. You're saving. Some people I know had an hour commute to work every day, so you're
Yeah.
saving 2 hours there. Woohoo! But also
Housing costs, you can move further out.
yeah, but also counter to that, you have to kind of have an office space in your house to do it. Like if you're living in a single bedroom apartment, it's not very fun to work from home, like that. It's much more conducive if you have a separate room you can go to and work, right? So that's a bit difficult. Some people just don't have big computers at home, and our company provides us a laptop, right? If I want 2, 3 monitors. Ideally the company provides that because they would have provided it before, in the office. So ideally the company would provide you 1 or 2 or however many they usually do work monitors, and you can just have that at home. But it's a balancing act, right? And theoretically that should be less than them paying for an entire building.
Yeah,
At least
really.
especially in Seattle, right? That's expensive as hell. And they'd be able to maybe hire people for lower salaries and stuff like that because salaries adjust to the cost of living, and there's been discussions around that. Like, okay, if we do work from home, like if there's someone in Colorado and someone in Seattle, right, working, why is why do they get paid the same? Because in Seattle, the housing costs compared to like I don't know Colorado is probably like at least 2 times, 3 times as expensive. So, and that's what your salary, at least again, and this is America I'm talking about. You know, usually your salary is based on cost of living expenditures and stuff. So it's about the same, you know, standard of living across the board, right? So that's a discussion to have, and I think Facebook has breached that discussion recently, saying, you know, its employees in Texas, you know, remote, like if you started working in San Diego, right, and you moved to Texas and you're still working remote, then your salary is going to be adjusted to reflect that, right? Which, you know, I think at a base level that's fair, right? Like because that increase in salary from, you know, Austin, Texas to LA is, you know, to pay for the increased cost of living there, you know,
Yeah,
food costs
exactly.
and apartment costs. Like that's not supposed to be extra income to save and such. So at a base level is fair, but I could definitely see companies taking it too far. Like, oh, you know, since you could live wherever you want, we're still deducting your salary, right?
Oh yeah, no, that'd be
Like,
like,
you know,
yeah,
so
no
I could
good.
definitely see that happening, or like, you know, it just being unfair and saying, you know, we're gonna hire people in Wyoming, right, and just pay them $50,000 a year, and just never hire people who live in cities again, kind of thing, right? Definitely see it shifting that way too in a bad way. So, you know, it's difficult. I'm not an economist person, or I have no business degrees, anything like that. This is purely speculation, and you know, there's no what's the word trends or anything showing that's going to happen. But you know, it's something to be aware about. Not everything's positive or negative, right? So I don't know. Separate room costs more money or time and commute. Yeah, I mean, and that's also fair. Having a separate office could cost you more money. I know that if you are like, if you have your own company slash like if you're a sole proprietor, LLC, whatever, you can deduct on your taxes like the room you use. Like so for the keyboard stuff I do, my closet, right? If I use half my closet just for storing keyboard stuff solely related to my business, I could write, you know, 5 square feet off on my taxes. That's a really small amount.
Yeah,
But
no, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, like my home office had been deducted.
yeah,
Now it's
exactly.
like
Like if
now it's this whole thing.
my office was mainly used for keyboard stuff, I could write off, you know, I don't know, 100 square feet, right? And there's a formula and stuff. And again, this is U.S. And then you can write that off on your taxes. You get a tax credit, et cetera, et cetera. So there's no reason they couldn't do that if you were working from home. And I think you already can, to an extent, do that on your taxes, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I know you can if it's your own company. I don't know if you like if you're a contractor, if you work
Yeah,
from
no, you
home.
can't because we used to deduct like for when my wife worked at home, we used to
Okay.
deduct
So that's worth
her
looking
space
into.
too.
If you find yourself working from home more, and you did recently, like, you know, set up a space that's just work, look into your local tax laws, or I guess regional tax laws. Like I know U.S. and U.S. you can do that. You can write off up to X amount. I don't know any other country. I think in Canada you can do it too, but beyond that, I have no idea. So, and again, it still might it's still probably cost. You're not going to save like thousands of dollars there. It's tax reductions are a joke for non-rich people, but you know, is what it is. Anyways, off of that, on to let's see what else. I guess podcasts. People probably
Hmm.
want to know what's been going on with the podcast and where we've been. Well, for myself, I'll start. I've just been, you know, working, moving. We moved when the pandemic started, so we've been living here for the past, you know, 9 months. Finally, completely moved in, more or less. There's my wife. What's up? Talking to Danny. We're on a podcast.
Oh,
The first time in forever.
wow. A
I know.
podcast.
Wonderful. You're on Twitch right now.
Can they see me?
They cannot see you. It's fine.
Then I'm fine.
You need anything?
No.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I love you. Bye.
Love you too. I have a door now. I don't think I had a door last time I podcasted from here.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, they installed the sliding glass door. They were supposed the place didn't come with one just because the previous tenants lived here for like 5 years before they like installed all the sliding doors.
So I didn't have
And,
time to do the improvement.
Yeah,
I
so
see.
they didn't have time because this was just like a side room, and so they just installed it like a month after we moved in, which was fine. I didn't mind. It's a nice door, slides very well. But But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. We moved, been busy. What else? Elite C stuff. Didn't take up too much time, but there's stuff going on there. Was working on an ARM Elite C, but well, for those who don't know, there's some pretty major ARM supply chain issues right now.
Global worldwide shortage.
Global shortage
Because of Italy, because the dies for making the chips are in Italy, and then Italy went
super lockdown.
nuts. Yeah, so
yeah, you
super
can't
delayed.
find lots of ARM chips anymore. Specifically, the ones I was working with, or most keyboard designers are working with, just they're gone. You can't.
Well, I found a source, and I had our fab buy
Oh, nice.
like 1,000 of them just to hold in reserve.
Was it a decent price?
So the price, it was a decent price. Yeah, I mean,
Less than at Megas?
yes.
Okay.
Pretty similar price to at Mega. So I decided to just lock it in.
Half the price of at Megas across the board.
Yeah.
And now it's not. Now if you find them, they're like $250 each on the low end, which might not sound like a lot, but they used to be like $1.50 each. So, but yeah, so that's why ARM chips are getting very, very difficult to come by. And if you do come by them, either people stock up on them like Danny, or you have to maybe sacrifice, like, it's not the exact flavor you wanted, right? Because for ARM chips, there's a lot of different versions, different flash sizes, different feature set, different size, stuff like that. So maybe the one you want isn't actually in stock. So like if you go on Octopart right now, or DigiKey, or even LCSC, and just search some of the most common ARM chips like the F303 and the F072 are the two that come to mind, you'll find that most of them are not in stock at all, and are back ordered.
Yeah.
And even then,
or if you find a source, it'll cost you like $10 a chip.
yeah,
or
the
something.
pricing's completely off. Like it'll be $6 a chip or $5 a chip, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for ARM chips, that's a lot. That's like 4 times the pricing. It usually is. So I had to put a hold on my Elite C or ARM version stuff. Do have prototypes, which I'll grab in a second, but as far as the industry is concerned, like the global ARM industry is concerned, it's going to take a few months, at least, probably 6 months, for it to get back up to where it was. Kind of sucks. Same time, meh, is what it is. Not much you can do about it. And it's the same for at Megas too. Like their price went up. With my supplier, they went up by 25 cents each. And this base cost, like no matter how many I got. I said, what if I bought 10,000? They're like, it doesn't matter. So unfortunately, that price went up. Not nearly as much, right? It's only 25 cents, which for at Megas isn't a large percentage, but it's still, when you're buying
still something.
thousands of them, it definitely adds up to a good amount. But there's a global shortage in fabs and just stuff like that. Especially with you got Apple doing all their new silicon and stuff, which I'm sure doesn't impact it, but there's lots of stuff going on in the worldwide electronics economy. So, what's the draw of ARM for keyboards? Well, cheaper is a big one. ARM chips are, they generally are significantly cheaper than the Atmega counterpart, the Atmega 32U4. The ARM chips are typically significantly cheaper. They have usually at least 4 times the flash memory, which is plenty to enable pretty much any computer or QMK feature you can think of, right? Like with that much flash, you can enable every QMK feature twice, basically. Whereas with Atmega, sometimes you have to pick and choose. ARM is also, it's a bit more power efficient, if you care about that. Runs at 3.3 volts, pulls a few less watts. That does lead to some weirdness with LED strips sometimes, but that's another discussion. Other draws are, mainly it's cheaper. It has different size footprints. You can get smaller ARM chips than you can at Mega chips, which can lead to some interesting designs. And the support's better. I'd argue the development environment for ARM chips at a developer level, not at a consumer level, just at someone who develops, like the people who are writing QMK and stuff. This ARM support is more flushed out than Atmega support is. Not for QMK. QMK has a long way to go to have good ARM support, but in the general ecosystem of microcontrollers, ARM's a lot. Any developer you find that does low-level code like that's going to have familiarity with ARM, whereas they probably it's a lot rarer for them to have that level of familiarity with Atmega chips. So it's just easier. There's more, more libraries. There's more extension. There's more fun stuff you can do with it. And they have more features. Like the Atmega 32, I think, has 2 I2C channels, or is it 1? Dan?
Yeah. You can have 2.
I think you can have 2, but like this ARM chip that I'm using, I think it has 4. Which, like, again, your normal keyboard person doesn't give a crap, but it gives you fun stuff to hack around with. You see these keyboards now with displays and encoders and lights and all this like crazy stuff on it, RGB, and having more I2C channels is nice, or just serial channels is nice. I mean, you can chain I2C, right? It doesn't really technically matter, but it does in some edge cases. It's nice to have the options. It opens the door to more stuff, and also ARMs are just usually easier to source than the Atmegas are, just because it's such an enterprise part. ARM chips, like everyone uses ARM chips, and like you can, like for the Atmegas, right? It's by Atmel, big company, like they're gonna make a ton of them, but for ARM, they typically make much higher quantities, and also like they have specific like timelines for when they're going to end of life products, right? So they might say like for this chip, right? I'm making these numbers up. Let's say for the F303 chip, that's the one the Proton C uses, right? They'll say, okay, we can guarantee we're going to produce this chip till 2035, right? So that me as a designer, I know that I can 100% get that chip for the next 10 years. Whereas at Mega, I don't know if they have that same thing. I'm not 100% sure, but it is a nice just peace of mind thing there also, that I know that the supply for this chip, I'll be able to continually get it for the next decade, right? I don't have to worry about it getting phased out and such. So, but as far as consumers are concerned, the main thing is price. So you'll see cheaper microcontrollers, and again, feature support, like for stuff for QMK once QMK gets ARM support, or other software stuff. Like it's better in general. So.
And you don't need a crystal either.
Oh yes, that's the other one. You don't need a crystal, so less bomb things, and it's just nicer.
Although you do need an LDO, but
actually, I think the
it's
F3,
still
the Proton C needs a crystal. The chip they use needs a crystal.
Right.
The
that's
one
right.
I use, it's the F072, and it's a certain flavor of it. I forget which one. It doesn't need a crystal. And if you like I said, there's so many different flavors of ARM chips. And I say flavors because I'm coming from Unix. But there's so many different types of ARM chips that it's nice. And they all, if you write, like let's pretend I wrote a program for the Proton C specific ARM chip. Typically, it's a lot easier to port that to the different, generations or different flavors of ARM chips than it is, between Atmega stuff or from Atmega to ARM and stuff like that. So, like in theory, if QMK was written completely in ARM, you'd be able to tweak it to support any ARM chip, without major rewrites of the code. Theoretically. So that's the benefit of ARM there also. So. Crystal like meth, yeah. Crystal meth. You don't need it for the ARM chips, exactly.
That's how it runs faster,
Exactly. But yeah, and that's why you see a lot, or you have seen a lot of keyboard designers and PCBs recently swapping over to ARM chips. It's usually the F303 or the F072 are the two most popular ones I've seen people using. I think I've seen the L072 also pop up a few times, but that's basically the F072 with a few differences. It's like the same chip. I won't get into that, but you will not see them as much currently because, again, every designer is going to be having difficulty sourcing them. So it's probably going to drop off for a few months. We probably won't start seeing a more significant push in ARM utilization, I'd say till the end of 2021 at this point. Does that seem fair to say?
Yeah, I think, just a distribution line will probably take
and it's a
that long
shame
to-
because I know a lot of PCB designers who were making, like swapping their PCBs over to ARM, or were just making new PCBs in ARM, and they have them all done, and they're like, well, now I can't make them.
Yep.
Because it costs like 5 times as much as I thought it was going to cost, so I can't run the group buyer, etc. So they're having to convert it back to Atmega, basically. Which isn't like the end of the world, it's doable, but it's annoying. Especially if you were pitching something to be like, hey, ARM support, woo. And all that, but is what it is. Is what it is. A few months, once it gets the supply line comes back, you'll see definitely more ARM stuff, and I think that's where, not just keyboards, I think that's where like small hobbyist microcontroller stuff is just moving to, is going to be ARM. I don't know the initial design decision behind using the Atmegas. I think the Pro Micro has an Atmega. It's probably the reason. The Pro Micros were hackable and easy to use, so that's why we probably started using Atmegas. But ARM makes a lot more sense just in general. If you're just looking at costs and availability, it makes more sense. I don't know. Does SparkFun have any ARM boards currently? I don't know if they do ARM yet.
I don't think so. I haven't looked at their site, but all I've ever seen is just
I think they
Atmega
solely
related
do
stuff.
Atmega stuff. So, but yeah. So that's my rant on ARM stuff. Sorry, Danny, talked over you a bit, and sorry whoever asked the question. I hope that covered everything. It's a bit long, but could you make a 2-key Raspberry Pi with an ARM Elite C? Oh, a low-key Raspberry Pi with an ARM Elite C? Maybe. I don't know, like, what kind of what could run on that ARM chip?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a pretty, it's a pretty small
Bitcoin
one.
mining again.
Let's do some Bitcoin. Oh,
Buy
I'll go
Bitcoin.
grab the ARM Elite C. Danny, you can talk. I'm gonna go grab something.
All right. So as you can see here, yeah, this is my new digs right here. This is the new office. Rented it out 2 months ago. So this is where I hang out. Oh, that's a FedEx truck, huh?
Oh, hey, getting delivery?
No, I don't use FedEx for anything. So
Yeah, who does? It
They're
sucks.
they're so next door is actually another online store.
They also sell keyboards?
They sell like burlap stuff.
Oh, okay. I got a really nice canvas bag. That reminds me.
But they have like a crazy amount of storage space. So their office, like my office here is 912 square feet. Theirs is 700. But then there's like these two. So like to the right here, or to the.
That's bigger
to
than my
here.
first apartment when I moved here.
So there's like a hallway here, and then there's 2 storage rooms. I think one is like 700, other one's 400. They've rented both of those out, and then this whole building itself is self storage.
Oh yeah, you were telling me.
So they have like, I don't know, they must have at least 5 additional self storage units to store their
That's
stuff.
wild.
And
That's
then
good for them.
they have a lot of packages that get picked up, but it's like large size packages and all. So
Interesting.
because I'm sure they're still like rolls of stuff, but then they also sell various like pre-made products, like maybe like pillows, or I don't know what they do.
Wow,
I mean,
that's wild.
I can go look up the store and all, but
That's the size of a mansion in the Pacific Northwest. You're not far off.
but I think they just mainly sell on Etsy and Amazon, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hey, that's good. It's convenient to have a self-storage place right attached to your workspace, because if you ever need to get more space, just ring them up, right? Yeah, where's the Kibio collab?
I should do it. I should get sleeves made.
Oh, there you
Burlap
go.
sleeves.
That'd be great.
They do sell sewing machines too, so.
Interesting, like their own sewing machines?
No, it's like they just sell some
resell.
Singer, for resale.
Singer sucks. No offense to whoever uses Singer. The
It
old
does.
Singers were great. Old Singers are cool. The new ones are crap. I only know this because I did so much research into sewing machines in the past few months because my wife is into sewing, and I was getting her sewing machine for Christmas. So I did all the research in the world.
I forget what we have. I think we had. Well, at some point we got a bunch of Huskies because I guess some woman, like there's a school that was like selling off their sewing machines, so they had a bunch of Husqvarna sewing machines that were pretty good. So she bought a bunch of them. We bought like a couple off of her.
Yeah, we got
I don't know what we have now.
Juki. Juki's the brand. I think it's Japanese. They're known it's apparently a really good brand. They make like as far as high mid range, they're kind of the best that you can spend your money on. So that's what we went with, and I know nothing about. Brother sucks apparently too nowadays, unless you're going really really cheap. Again, old machines notwithstanding, the old Brothers were great, the old Singers were great, but nowadays they kind of suck. Apparently, yeah, burlap desk mat. I like that. Do it. How itchy would that be? Oh God. Oh, speaking of itchy, here's the Elite C. ARM Elite C is green because it's a prototype. Here, I know it looks a lot like the Proton C. That's not necessarily on purpose. Just they have a very efficient design of adding the extra ports on the bottom, and I wanted to keep the Pro Micro Elite C footprint, so it's kind of the only way to do it. It's got the mid mount USB-C still, so we're gonna have that same size, height as the Elite C. There's no logo yet, but yeah, that's it. Instead of a speaker like on the Proton C, it has here. So like, can we focus?
Got an EEPROM chip.
Yeah, it's EEPROM, so just extra memory. There's no not that the chip doesn't have enough memory. I think it has 128 kilobits, so you don't really need it. It's just there for fun. Want to do something? I mean, like I said, you can snap it off, and you just won't be able to use it. But it's negligible in price, which is nice. And yeah, just for fun, just hack. You know, if you want EEPROM, you have EEPROM. Because that is another thing. Some ARM chips don't have EEPROM; they just have flash and RAM. So if you
Yeah,
want
most
EEPROM,
most of them that in use, yeah, like the F072, that's got
none of them
no
have
EEPROM.
which isn't like
F303,
which
same
by
thing
the
as
way
well.
isn't a problem. Like it's not like the end of the world. Like the flash memory has an insane amount of write and read write cycles you can do to it. It's like in the tens of thousands, I think. Like you're not in the lifespan of a keyboard. It's not gonna matter. Okay. Like I said, the Proton C doesn't have EEPROM either. I don't think it uses the F303, which doesn't have EEPROM.
Right.
So it just uses emulated EEPROM, which is just EEPROM in flash. Which is fine. Again, no problem. And if it was an issue, if people thought we're going to write too much, what you could do is probably store all your EEPROM writes in RAM, and then every 5 hours or whatever, write it to flash to save on those writes. If you really, really felt you needed to, but again, it's in like I think it's in the tens of thousands, like as far as the how much.
And you can also do write leveling and
yeah, and the only time you
allocate
write to
extra memory.
EEPROM, like the only time you're writing back and forth to the flash and EEPROM is when you're changing your RGB levels, right? Changing audio levels, or if you're changing your key map on the fly. But other than that, like in normal day-to-day use, you're not writing to your microcontroller at all, really. Just for like backlegging RGB states, stuff like that. Audio probably too, but there's no worries there. Because I know that came up in a discussion I was having with some other people. But and again, you can add EEPROM if you wanted to. So and it's pretty. It's just I squared C. They're so cheap. It's insane. This one's I think 250.
It's like 10 cents. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 256 kilobytes, and it's like 10 cents. Which is like, all right, I'll slap it on there for 10 cents. And they're super easy to set up. I haven't done any dev work on this thing. I've been wanting to flash it with something, but I've been so
Yeah,
busy.
I have not done. I took it out of the bag. I plugged it in, saw that
Yeah,
it works,
it detects
and like
and I was
literally did
able to-
nothing else.
Yeah, it detects, and I was able to like get it to show up in the IDE, and that's all. I shipped a few to some of my vendors to play with. I don't think anyone's had any time. And this thing has the smallest reset switch in the world. Hold on. I don't think you can even see it. It's right at the bottom. Yeah, it's not gonna focus. It's
If you
super
stick
small.
a hand behind it, it might focus.
Let's see. Yeah, there
There
you
you
can see
go.
it. It's super small. It sucks. It sucks to press, but it does work. Like you can press it with your fingernail or with a pen, and it resets just fine. So I have no reason to like. That's the reset switch I'm gonna use, because people on the Elite C, one of the complaints before I switched to the other low profile was, hey, the switch is too high. So small switch. Again, how often you use a reset switch? As long as it works consistently, I don't really care how crappy it is to click. So, but yeah, that's the ARM Elite C, and you will not be seeing it until at least Q3 this year, until the ARM stuff is back, because it's impossible to order them in the quantities I need them right now. So maybe Danny can lend me some of his 1,000
My secret stash.
secret stash, and we can do a small run. But no, I gotta figure out.
And I just have a stash of 100 in my office here.
Yeah, I gotta figure out a what's the word? A logo and a name. Right now, the working name is Elite AF, ARM focused, but maybe we'll need a more professional name. I don't know yet. I've had a few vendors kind of like tilt their head at me like, "Are you sure that's what you want to name it?" So might have to change it. The working name's Elite AF. But it doesn't. The Elite C is nice because it tells you what it is, because Pro Micro, Elite C, USB-C, kind of makes sense. Whereas Elite AF doesn't really tell you anything. I'd like it to, so I'm trying to think of a better name. Meet Josh. He's a name guy. But any thoughts of bringing more native wireless support to QMK, kind of like ZMK? Yeah, PC Low Letter got it there. QMK and the Nordic license don't really mesh well. Probably won't change. The problem is like with those like NRF 52 thingamabobs, those are the ones that most people use. The firmware on them, you either have to write your own, or you can use other firmware, but it has a very specific license that doesn't mesh with QMK's license or most open source licenses, and that's the problem. So it's a gray area that a lot of people just don't want to touch because it is a gray area. That's one of the reasons I haven't bothered making like an Elite C wireless thing, because to do it, I'd want to write my own firmware, and A, I don't want to bother, and B, I don't think the demand's there anyways. But yeah, that's the reason. It's licensing issues, and the only solution would be for someone to write their own, and I think it's like the NR54.2 or whatever that chip is, firmware. Which might happen. I mean, it definitely could happen. There is firmware out there to reference. I think SparkFun has their own firmware for it. But again, someone would have to write their own. So, yeah. And I don't know if it's as popular as people think it is. And it's kind of the same with Bluetooth. You need your own firmware. Like all those little Bluetooth chips, they come with, I forget what company writes the general firmware for those little Bluetooth chips. But it's the same licensing issue. That's why you're not seeing like a Proton C Bluetooth module or an Elite C Bluetooth version or a QMK native. I think it actually does have native Bluetooth support for some stuff, but it's difficult. You can buy them pre-flashed from SparkFun, like the little Bluetooth modules, and you could use those, but it's weird. It's not as straightforward.
I think you're stuck using those modules. You can't you can't just like buy a bare chip and then like.
It's very hard to buy bare chips also for those. And even if you do, getting them flashed is also, because they don't have a USB port, right? It's not easy to flash them. You need a special tool, which like you can get it for sure. It's not the end of the world, and fabs will flash them for you, but it's a whole other layer of complexity. And personally, it's not worth it to me. Maybe one day. When it's easier to source them, or we have or open source, Bluetooth firmware that's easy to flash. Even then, it's difficult. It's not as easy as like with the Atmegas. You buy the chip, it's flashed with DFU bootloader, it works. ARM, it's flashed with their bootloader and stuff, and it works. Wireless chips like that, it isn't the same. And I'm sorry if you're hearing this bubble noise. That's my Slack going off for work. But actually, I should probably check that. Make sure not to bring it up on screen, but yeah, that's the short version of why. Bare chip has FCC license problems. That's the other thing. When you put wireless on commercial products, you all of a sudden have to get all these FCC regs. Like the Elite C, if I put Bluetooth on there, I might be able to get away with it because it's not a quote-unquote end product. And when you're not like an end product, you're just like a piece or like a hobbyist device, you don't need the same certifications. But if you're making a PCB, like the Planck, right? They have to get all sorts of FCC regs because they are an end product. And it's complicated. And again, this is US law. I'm sure there's similar stuff in the EU. But yeah, once you start messing around with wireless stuff, it gets messy. And a lot of people just don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's just not worth it. There's so many other, like there's ways to add Bluetooth to keyboards. You can get little like you can buy the modules from SparkFun and get them to work with Pro Micro, Proton C's, Elite C. Like you can get them to work. It's not the most convenient thing in the world, but like they have the Feather you can even buy, right? So like there's ways to do it. People do make PCBs that are Bluetooth, right? It's a whole thing. And the problem is a lot of these people who make PCBs or Bluetooth aren't getting them FCC certified, which again, they're not going to like ruin your wireless, like they're not going to break your microwave or ruin your router or anything, right? But like legally, like technically, if they wanted to mass produce those PCBs, they need to be FCC certified. So it's gray area. Again, you're getting into that gray area. It's just a bit, it's complicated. It's complicated, basically. It's not as easy as people
we'll just let somebody else handle the issues, and then
exactly. It's not worth my time investment to like write Bluetooth firmware, get it working, and then like again, the Elite C probably wouldn't need to be FCC certified. Bad example because it is just it's considered like a hobbyist board. Like you don't use the Elite C standalone. It's integrated into another product 9 times out of 10, right? It's the same with the Pro Micro and stuff. I'm pretty sure like if you look at the Feather, it's not FCC certified either because it doesn't have to be. But again, gray area. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot stick. Someone else wants to, it's great. If someone else makes a board, like I don't know. Like maybe one day I will do it, but And the other thing is, people love to say that this feature is needed. Like, it's like the same thing with compatibility layers on keyboards or like compatibility layouts. Like, everyone wants this, right? Or like everyone wants ALP supports in their PCBs. Everyone wants Bluetooth support on their microcontrollers. When like realistically, maybe 5% of people actually will use it, and of those 5%, maybe 1% won't buy your product because it doesn't support it. So is it really
It's like
worth the time
ISO,
investment? Yeah, it's like ISO support, like maybe less so. ISO is a bit more important, but I liken it to ALP support on a PCB. It's like
Yeah.
if your PCB doesn't have ALP support, there's a very small percentage of people that won't buy it because of that. But the people that were already going to buy it or that were going to buy it, if you added ALP support, you're not going to lose many customers. And of the people that, I'm not going to use inflammatory language, of the people that were upset, that saying like, if it doesn't have ALP support, I'll be really upset. A lot of them are still going to buy it if they were interested. Like it's not going to. It's either they're going to be people complaining about it that weren't going to buy it in the first place anyways, right? So, it's typically not worth it for stuff like that. And from a consumer standpoint, it's hard to see the numbers, but as a PCB designer and someone who's run group buys and like sold stuff and works with other vendors, I can see the numbers and percentage of people, and it's a lot lower than Reddit would like you to believe. So, this is what it is at that point. But what is this? Oh, sorry, I have to respond to work's important sometimes, all right? But yeah, so that's a long and short in that. I could do an entire podcast about Bluetooth and RF licensing and firmware, but I
Read
won't.
whole spec sheet.
Oh, God, I could go through the spec sheet. Yeah. I'm like so mad I lost that video when I did through for Armstrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
What have you been doing, by the way? What's your? We went through my stuff. What's your keyboard stuff going on?
Mainly just setting this physical store place up. So I am going to full time. I guess technically, probably like after the first week of January, I'll be switching over to full time. Or yeah, full time. Well, I kind of already am, but basically gonna ramp down to 1 day a week at my current company. But I get to keep like benefits like healthcare and a couple other things like that. And 401k.
Healthcare it's like your own entity is such a bitch.
I looked into it. We asked around and we're like, yeah, let me just like ask my current boss to see if we can just hang on. And he's like, yeah, he's totally cool with it because we've been working together for like literally like 6 years now. So
Yeah, that's nice.
we know each other pretty well at this point. But yeah, it's really past 2 months just getting everything moved in from the home office, hiring employees. I've hired a few people, got them trained up,
Yeah.
packing stuff for me. Usually I'm just here like almost every day. So usually I'm just here with one employee at a time. So, COVID stuff. And all.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why we couldn't do the podcast earlier, by the way. We had an employee, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could have. You've just been staring at me with a mask the whole time.
Yeah, it would be the audio quality would be even worse. So not worth it. But that's fair. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to. If I could somehow quit my full-time job and do keyboard design and PCB design and stuff like that full-time, I would in a heartbeat. That being said, it's very unrealistic for me.
Yeah.
One, I have a very good job, and I appreciate it. I don't hate my job. Like, Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, I don't hate my job.
He's listening. He's definitely listening. Remember that in a time.
But I would like to. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have that option. But no, I'm far off. First of all, I'd have to not live in Seattle. First of all, that would have to happen. And second of all, the health insurance climate in America would have to change. So never.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll show you around the office here. So, we got the windows here. That's pretty nice. Front
Nice
door.
sunny
You can't see the
out
front door. Yeah. So it gets a decent amount of light. I usually keep the lights off here unless it's a really gloomy day where I'll turn the lights off. I've got like racks all around. So let's see. Oh, let's see. Over here. Let's see. Here. I feel like a weatherman right now. Here's the packing station. That's where the orders get filled, and where you'll hear the Rollo printer making noise if I don't think I don't know, maybe I'll do a packing stream at some point, but who knows.
Hell yeah.
But I've trained other people to pack, so probably not. And then let's see.
You're still using the Rollo printer, eh? I love that thing.
Yeah. Let me stand up here. So let's see, what do we got here? Let's see that over.
See all your
hold on.
boxes
Okay.
and crap.
Over here is the soldering station right here. I plan to do some streaming from there. I just got the monitor arm there. Set up the monitor so I can do some live streams there. I got my microscope there. Let's see. That's obviously the beer fridge for myself.
Gotta have a beer fridge.
And then let's see what else we got here. And then right here is the kitting table, and then the craft tape machine that makes. Oh, I can't. Let's see. Probably can't see that on Twitch right there. Now you can.
Yeah, you can see it on Twitch now. Yeah. Nice. You got quite the setup, eh? Yeah. My setup is here. I got this one IKEA table that folds up into the wall. That's never folded up because it's always covered in crap. I've got a closet, and yeah, that's all. got my desk.
But yeah, if any locals, you are welcome to come by. You just have to let me know in advance, because a lot of time I'm not going to be here. usually, I guess once my kids go back to school again, they go to school 4 days a week, every day except Wednesday. I'm here basically from 8 a.m. until about 3 p.m. So just
Local
let me
being
know.
North Carolina, by the way, guys.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can drive from like another state if you really want to. Make it a day trip. I've had a couple of local pickups so far. Like, you know, there was one guy who was literally like less than a mile away from here. So I'm like, and like he put an order in. I was like, you just want to go like over here and like pick it up, because like you're paying like $10 for shipping.
I've had that happen for.
He came by. We had a chat. You know, I showed him, you know, all the different keyboards. Like I've got a section here where you can just try out a whole bunch of stuff, Topre and all the other boards.
Nice. Yeah, I need a website. I need a website again. I haven't had one in years. Josh is the website guy. He's supposed to make me a website, then he died. Jerk.
Along with OTC.FM, I think that's dead right now.
Yeah, it is, because Josh owns some of the like login details, and he never shared it with us for a few things. That's where that is. I think. I know we own it technically, but do we have access to OTC.FM? I don't think we
No,
do.
he owns the domain.
Yeah.
And I think he gets the Patreon money too.
So we will say, I don't think we've lost it. Like I think he has it on auto renew, so we're not going to lose the domain, but it's going to stay dead for a while until Josh resurfaces.
Well, you can still use the Podbean website. That's still.
And we have the login details of that one. Definitely,
yes.
I know we have the login details of that one. So.
Because I pay for that one.
And I pay for Zoom. I've been paying for it for the past 9 months. We've used it once. I think I've used it twice. I used it for a doctor's appointment a few months ago.
Oh, because we're on Zoom Pro, whatever you call it.
Yeah, we have Zoom Pro because we used to use it a lot.
We used to have chats for more than 40 minutes. Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, I haven't bothered canceling the subscription because who cares? It charges my business account. It's a tax write-off. And it's not that expensive, so it's whatever. But yeah, nice. No, it's good to hear you going full time. I know there's been a couple key people who have been switching to full time for one reason or another. It's not easy, that's for sure. But I guess North Carolina doesn't have the most expensive real estate and like living costs, so that's nice.
It is going up, but it's not like.
It's definitely going up.
Yeah, it's not like Seattle prices,
it's not
but
Seattle. That's for damn sure.
I mean, I've been looking for a new house for like almost like 3 years now.
Yeah.
We have a target neighborhood we want to get to, but it's like super hard to get into.
Yeah,
Like
here, if you're looking for a new house, because I look every so often, because we do want to buy a house probably the next 5 years. I'm gonna buy a house, but if you're looking for houses here, like the minimum for like a reasonable house for two people, that have dogs and animals, and you know, it's gonna be at least $1 million. That's what it is, and that's outside the city. Like we wouldn't buy a house in the city, obviously. That's in like Bellevue, Redmond, north of
Right.
Seattle, stuff like that. It's still like it's $1 million. It's like holy crap, that's a lot of money. So it is not cheap here, and the pandemic didn't help at all. If anything, the housing
no.
prices have gone up.
Like it tightened up inventory and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy, but it is what it is. I'm not buying a house now, like 3 years probably. And we might not live in Seattle, who knows, or near Seattle, who knows. Maybe we'll move to Vancouver. But I don't want to. We got this apartment, and we're not moving from here for at least 2 years. We decided, before we signed the lease, we said wherever we're moving next, we're not moving for another 2 years because I've moved 3 times in the past 4 years. It sucks. I hate moving with a passion. So we are at least staying here, god damn it, for 2 years, and probably at least 3. And then the next move is gonna be a house. That's the plan. Unless something changes, the next move's gonna be a freaking house. Because I hate moving. And then you get your space all set up. You install lights. You hang stuff. For me, I usually you mount your TV. You might run some Ethernet and stuff. You run things through the walls. Because I live in apartments, but I am not afraid to open up walls and do crap. I do all the time whenever I live somewhere, and then I patch it up before I leave. They never know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you get everything set up, then you have to move. You have to take it all down, and it's such a pain. It sucks.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have a house that I could do shit with. If I want to run Cat 6, I can just do it. If I want an outlet in this wall, because my wife's closet, it's a walk-through closet. You have the bedroom, closet, bathroom. And it's a nice size. She has her sewing table in there. But the damn closet has no outlets. There's no outlets. So we have to run an
Yeah.
extension cord.
I do that in my son's room because my son's room, that's where we have all our Ethernet stuff and
It's just
the
so
cable.
annoying.
So I have an extension cord coming out of the closet
Yeah.
into a plug, and it looks
It's just so annoying. It's if I own the place, and I've thought of doing it even though I don't. But if I own the place, I'd install a freaking outlet. It's
Yeah.
not, if you know what you're doing with if you know what you're doing electrically, it's not that hard to install an outlet to code. And even then, it's not too expensive to get an electrician just to install some outlets. It really isn't, a couple $100. Which, yeah, it's money, but if you own a house, whatever. I'm not going to pay a couple $100 to them to install an outlet in my damn closet in an apartment I rent, though. So, it's just stuff like that. I would love to own a house. So I could do
Dude,
shit
I actually found this one guy who does things pretty cheap. We're surprised. So we had our crawl space sealed recently, but we needed an outlet for a dehumidifier.
Yeah.
And then the cost we were being quoted by all these places was it was $400 or $500 or whatever to
That's
run
high.
a single GFCI outlet.
Sheesh.
So we had contacted this one electrician and he was
Mhm.
supposed to come, but he was a no-show. So we contacted the people who were sealing our crawl space for a recommendation. It's oh yeah, call this guy. So we call this guy up. He comes check it out and it's oh yeah, I'll do it for $75. I'm okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, around here I found people who do it for $150. And it's $150 for the first outlet, and if you want more, it's $70 or whatever. It's like that.
And I guess this guy is also just a general handyman. So we asked him other stuff we could do.
Nice.
And he's yeah. And
Nice.
so we called him out a couple other times. He fixed up some random things that I had meaning to do but never got around to. And it's
Yeah.
all right, this guy's I think he's retired or something. He just kind of does for fun.
Sounds like
So
my
he doesn't
dad.
charge. He doesn't charge that much at all.
Yeah, it sounds like my dad
Um,
that he can do all that. He built his own 40-foot garage and installed a car lift, and he wired the whole damn thing himself and everything. He can do all that. He knows plumbing, everything. So whenever I just ask him to do it for me, or I'm hey, how would I do it? And he just tells me how to do it. So that's great. But unfortunately, COVID, A, he can't travel. And B, we're on the other side of the freaking country now. I'm not going to fly him out to install an outlet in my closet. I know how to do it. It's just, again, not worth it if you're renting an apartment. It's just, why would you bother? So, yeah, house. One day. And again, maybe we'll move to Canada. Who freaking knows? Politics.
All right. Well, anyhow,
Anyways,
I gotta take.
it's 3 o'clock for you.
Yep.
I know you gotta
Go buy some more of my PCBs.
Go buy some
This
Elite
is
Cs.
this is an upcoming one right here with the case.
Oh, you're making ortho?
So it's actually dual ortho and staggered.
I think
it
I think you sent me a picture. Of
it was actually commissioned for somebody else.
Nice.
But I can also just run. I'm not allowed to just run the PCB myself anyway. So
nice.
I made some cases and I should have
acrylic
for sale. Yeah, acrylic since figured out, but looking pretty good.
Nice.
Got my jukebox on it, MT3 jukebox.
I'm sorry, I can't stand MT3. I tried
so
it a couple times.
I remember we
it.
tried at the meetup. I didn't like it, but I still kept that set from the group buy, and I've been typing it every day now. Like, feels
maybe when it wears in, it feels better.
Yeah, I think when you get used to it and all, it feels
I still like my SA.
decent.
I got SA jukebox. I got the OG. So.
Yeah, I got my SA jukebox on the other version of this board, this staggered format.
If anyone has any Let's Split PCBs, like at all, preferably ones that have components on them, so the ones I made. If anyone has any that they're not using, I will buy them from you. I just need a pair because I have a keyboard I've been trying to build for the past year, and I need a Let's Split PCB. I don't have any. I didn't keep any, and I feel stupid.
Just get these. Just get these, and
I don't think they fit in the case.
They won't fit in the case.
Specifically for the Let's Split.
Oh,
PCBs.
that's true.
It's the Wood Keys one. It's the Wood Keys aluminum one that he only made 5 of because he never freaking finishes orders, and I happen to have a pair.
You know, he's still on like these like CNC forums and all.
Ugh, what a jerk. But I have it. And the best part is, so I have that case. He sent me 2 left hands, and I didn't notice until a few months ago when I wanted to build it. There's 2 left hands. It still works because it's a Let's Split, but it looks stupider. I'm so mad about it.
You know, at this point, just design a custom PCB that like.
Oh, it's fine. It's just the case because it has the cutouts on the top with like the little like tetrahedral. I don't know, the cutouts, and they're different sizes. Like one for like where the USB port is and where the TRS jack is. But since they're on the same side, this looks dumb now, and I'm really mad about it because it's a nice case otherwise. So whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'll have to look see if I have any PCBs, but yeah, buy some Elite Cs. Do it. Buy more. I know there's some places that are out of stock now. I'm waiting on a fab.
I mean, I still have these stock, but like I have this for Shopify. I have this projection program that tells me like exactly when something's gonna run out, and it's like telling me like you need to order more Elite Cs.
Wire that up to a script that just messages me for more Elite Cs.
Yes. Alexa, order more.
The fab order was supposed to be here this week, but my freaking my supplier that does the headers, pin headers, they accidentally sent. So I get 2-to-1 ratio, 12 pin headers to 5 pin headers because 12 pin headers I need one for each side. I only need one set of 5 pin headers, and they accidentally did the opposite. They sent me double the 5 pin headers, so I'm 3,000 12 pin headers short, and they didn't find out until they had to pack it, and so I had to contact my supplier saying, hey, the fuck, and they're like, oh, we'll do it, but it's gonna take a week. Because they have to custom make the headers. So it's just so annoying. So it's not going to be done until the 4th now. I'm pissed off. Because 2 of my vendors that I work with are completely out. And they're like, hey, we really need them. And I warned them. It's their own it's not their own fault. But like, I told them it would take a bit. But next shipment will be here soon, .tm.
Yep.
But anyways, it was good to have you, Danny. It was good to do podcasts.
I'll be doing some streams again soon.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do podcasts again too.
We'll probably do build streams, and then we'll figure out a different schedule.
Yeah, we'll do one in January at the very least, for a few weeks. We'll do maybe a plan of what we're gonna do moving forward for the podcast. But for now, thanks for listening to us. And this will be up somewhere. Podbean, maybe. I don't know. It'll be up somewhere. At the very least, it'll be in Discord as something you can download.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Peace out.